Welcome back to the podcast that makes you faster. Today, we're throwing it back to this year's Tour de France. Imagine this. You're standing at the top of Alpe d'Huez, waiting for the riders to arrive. The road is packed, the crowd is getting louder, and then you hear the helicopters approaching. A few moments later, the first riders appear around the final corner. As fans, we see the speed, the pain, the drama. But what does an engineer see? What happens behind the scenes before the riders even reach the start line? Today, we're talking about the Tour de France from a completely different perspective, through the eyes of Swisside founder Jean-Paul Ballard. Hey JP, how are you, man?
Hey Daniel, really good. Recovering from an electric Tour de France 3-week marathon, and what a Tour de France it was. So yeah, it's interesting to hear your intro because I experience it from both sides. I experience it from the fan side, which is amazing, but at the same time from the strategic, the technical side, the setup side. What are we doing? How can the team act to get the most out of each race stage? So yeah, we're heavily involved during the tour, before the tour, even more so. It's an interesting paradox, and we'll talk a little bit about it today, as well as some interesting setups that the team rode. And but first of all, I think just an incredible effort, the best ever result in the history of this team. The two key riders, so Paul Sexus, the youngest rider to start the Tour de France, I think since 1939 or something, and Olaf Koy, the sprinter, both of them having never done a Tour de France before, both of them not knowing what it's going to be like to compete at that level over 3 weeks. And did they deliver? Absolutely. So let's jump into it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I read before the podcast that this is the team's first victory in a stage since 2004. Amazing.
And it's brilliant. And also for Olaf Koy, his first ever Tour de France, first sprint stage, first win. And we'll come to it later, but he also got another 6 podiums. So finished second or third on the other sprints. So pretty amazing. And Paul as well, twice on the podium. White jersey for one day, 4th overall in the GC. I mean, we couldn't have hoped honestly, we couldn't have hoped for anything more. An amazing first start for this long-term project with the Decathlon CMA CGM team. And a lot more to come, I can tell you, because we're working feverishly in the background. And although this Tour de France was again the fastest ever on record, with an average speed of 43.227 kilometers an hour, I can tell you it will get faster and more efficient, which is why it gets faster. So let's deep dive into what happens behind the scenes in the Tour de France.
Nice. Oh my God. It's getting even faster. I cannot imagine how, but you will explain it throughout the podcast. My first question is, what do you see that we as fans completely miss when watching on TV? Are there some details that you have a special eye on?
Sure. Look, and I think some fans are highly into it and highly technical and probably see even more than me. The key things I'm looking at, of course, going into each stage, looking at the stage profile, what are the right setups in terms of bikes? Because, say, for now, we have 2 different bikes on a road stage. It could be the climbing bike, the lightweight bike. It could be the aero road bike, slightly heavier but less drag. What wheel setups are they using? What tires? Tire sizes, tire models. That's the first thing I'm looking at. Then I'm looking at, during the stage, it's very tactical. It's a massive game of chess with a couple of hundred players. And of course, all of the teams, driving those players to the strategy that they're trying to influence the race with. I'm also looking at, what is the target of the team for the day? What is the best strategy? Is it a conservative day? Is it a day just to mark the yellow jersey or the nearest direct competitor? For us, who was Del Toro from UAE Emirates, because he was the other white jersey holder, or the white jersey winner in the end. third place guy, and that was our real direct competitor that we were following. So yeah, is it a day to attack that rider, that team? Is it a day to remain conservative? You pick stages where you're going to be active, where you're going to be combative, and there are stages where you decide you let it go, and they're the stages, where the breakaway happens and things like that. And then of course, it's not just about our GC rider, so Paul Sexus in this case. If it's a flatter stage, it's not about him. It's about making sure he protects himself and stays in the peloton and nothing happens. But then it's about protecting and setting up our sprinter, Olaf Koy, for the race win. And then for other stages where the breakaway is active, who do we put in the breakaway? It's typically decided before the stage. If a breakaway happens, at which point, which riders go. And it also depends which riders are in that breakaway. So very strategic, and a lot of what-if scenarios are already discussed and calculated ahead of the stage. So highly tactical. So when I begin watching a stage, I'm watching to see what are the moves. First of all, even the setups that certain riders are using gives you an indication of what their intention is. So if one of the riders if it's going to be a sort of quite a hilly day, but a certain rider's on the aero bike, probably going to be in a breakaway, probably the intent to be in a breakaway. And then of course there are other things like points, the climber points, polka dot jersey, green jersey, sprinter points. If the team is going to be going for those, of course, there are these intermediate sprints, intermediate climbs where the riders gather points. That's also really important for the points jersey. So hugely, hugely complex. There's many competitions within one competition, and different stages provide a different flavor to what's going to happen on that day. And finally, of course, the weather. The weather always plays a role. And weather nowadays, we don't just talk about rain, we talk about heat. Heat management, massively important, has a direct impact on performance, has a direct impact on how you can break a rider. So we saw, particularly in this year's tour, a huge focus on cooling, on pre-cooling, before climbs, steep climbs, key riders pre-cooling, so getting ice packs from the car and really trying to cool themselves down.
With these vests in the back.
With the vests before the stages, but then during the stages, you have ice that you pre-prepare in stockings that you give to the riders out of the team car. We saw the domestiques for the key riders wetting their GC riders down, so playing an active role in keeping them cool. Each year it's getting more technical, it's getting more interesting, it's getting more complex, which is what's amazing. So for a tech nerd like me, ultimately it's just awesomeness to the power of 10.
Pure awesomeness.
Pure awesomeness.
Who decides the setup in the end? Is it the rider? Is it the team? Is it long decided before the stage starts, or do the riders have like the chance to say, oh no, today I'm feeling like riding another rim dev or something like this?
So in the past, the riders had a big say. But this was the same, I jump back to my days in Formula One. When I first started in Formula One in 2000, it was a time where the drivers had a big say on setup. Nowadays, the engineers see everything. You can set up the car based on simulations, what's fastest. And of course, the response from the driver is important, but the setup is decided by the team. In modern cycling, where we are today, it's the same. So we simulate. So one of the roles of SwissSide as a major technical partner of the team is not just to provide wheels. The team uses our SwissSide performance platform and has been using it for the last 3 years. The first role of the performance platform is to simulate each stage and decide what is the right equipment setup. So for each rider individually, based on their weight, based on their role, based on the strategy for the day, we'll simulate the course, and that will basically predetermine what setup you'll be riding. And a good example where it's going very much beyond, people's opinions or previous thoughts or whatever, and how it's going highly technical, is those who are watching the podcast will see there's a bike, one of the team bikes sitting behind me, and it's one of the setups that we used in this year's Tour de France, and it's what we call the reversed mullet. And what does that mean? It means we have a deeper rim on the front than we do on the rear. And this is designed for climbing stages where the bike is on the minimum weight with a particular rider. So this was the case sometimes with Paul Sexus and with Mathieu Riccitello. So where do you put the weight? Well, you've got to have the weight of the bike at 6.8 kilos. So you don't just add weight, ballast weights in the bottom of the bike, which people used to do in the past. You use that weight to give you a performance advantage. So in this case, the biggest performance advantage comes from the front wheel. So we step up a rim depth level in front wheel. So in this case, we have the 550 Ultimate front wheel. And on the rear, we're running the Hadron Ultimate 380 carbon spoke wheel. And with this, you're exactly on the minimum weight, but you've got the maximum aero performance, both for climbing and descent. So this is sort of an example of where predetermined setups based on particular riders and particular stages plays a role. Of course, if it's a flat stage, you'll be running deeper rims because weight plays a much smaller role, even a negligible role on really flat stages. And so it's not a problem to have the bike above the minimum weight. So particularly with the aero, with the RCRF bike, the aero road bike, on a flat stage, the bikes will be, 7.2 kilos. They're not at 6.8 because they don't need to be. And the difference in performance of being lighter is a penalty compared to being more aero.
Yeah. And what about tire width and pressure? Yep.
So again, tire width and pressure based on the particular stage. Yeah. What type of roads have we got? Are they smooth roads? Are they rough roads? Is it going to rain? So typically if it rains, the team might go for slightly wider tires. If it's going to rain, they will definitely go for lower pressures. Tire pressures are set for every individual rider and based on the road surface. So every stage, every rider has specific tire setup and pressure defined individually.
Do you know what the overall tour performance of the team now means for the team? Because there are so many teams that are not only fighting for stage wins or good positions, but also fighting for being visual and being seen on the stages and having a word to talk with, when it's about winning a tour or making a lot of points. And the team has now 3 riders in the top 20. Do you know what this means for the team for the future now?
Absolutely. Well, if we talk about the future, the Decathlon CMA CGM team's goal, together with Swisside, together with Van Rysel, together with the Decathlon group, is 100% clear. The goal is to win the Tour de France. And many would have said, "Oh, that's a lofty aspiration. Everyone wants to win the Tour de France," but everyone has seen the steps that we've made since it was Age Desert, and it's a huge step every year. The step this year, once again, 4th fastest team overall in the team classification, 4th with Paul in the GC, a proper sprinter team, one sprint stage win, as I said, 6 podiums. And particularly in the last couple of stages where the Decathlon team really stepped up and led the Peloton and dictated the pace and dictated the strategy, it was very clear to see, in their attempt to try and get the 3rd place off Del Toro in the second last stage, the team really was driving that stage, and UAE Emirates was protecting. So they had Pogacar working as Del Toro's domestique, pretty good domestique if you're Del Toro. And the purpose of the team was then to protect against what Decathlon was doing. And that shows the level that the team is now working at, that they're respected and taken seriously. And okay, it didn't pan out. But what was brilliant to see is the team did not leave a stone unturned. They tried everything. They tried a good strategy. Brilliant. And then again in the final stage in Paris, we saw at the end that Decathlon was the one that took control of the Peloton in the final 8 kilometers to shut down the breakaway, and literally with meters to spare brought the Peloton up to give. In the purpose in this case was very clear for us. It was to give Olas Coy a chance for the sprint win. Probably a few meters more could have helped. But again, it just showed that Decathlon is here. They're here to fight. They're here to drive the Peloton. They're here to fight for stage wins. And I think most of the serious teams would say, okay, yeah, Decathlon is now a threat in the coming years. Maybe not next year, but the goal is not to win the Tour de France next year. The goal is to win the Tour de France in the next 3 or 4 years. And in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of the team, that's an absolutely possible goal. It's not an easy goal. It's not a guaranteed goal. But I think with the performance we showed today, and with Paul, first Tour de France, 19 years of age, the potential this guy has is insane. So yeah, I'd say give us a couple of years, we'll be fighting right up the front.
And how important is Paul Sexus in this scenario? Because there are now, of course, there are rumors that other teams are going to check how much they have to pay to get him. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question. In order to achieve the goal of winning the Tour de France, you need a proper, genuine GC contender. Yeah. And for us right now, it's Paul Sexus. I'd say his value's probably only increased since this tour. I think, there was some pretty overinflated expectations, particularly from the French public, that he could be further. I mean, I think everyone would have liked, including us, would have loved him to be on the podium. But we've also got to be realistic. The first tour ever, he didn't know how to pace himself. He didn't know how he would react, how his body would react over a 3-week grand tour, and particularly at the level that the Tour de France is ridden at. So everyone has to be super stoked. 4th place is amazing. Yeah. So yeah, the goal of the team is very simple right now: retain Paul Sexus. Yeah. No question. And I know the team is working really hard to do that. And to be honest, if I was Paul Sexus, what would I do? I'd say, I'm 19 years of age. I've got a long career ahead of me. I've got Decathlon that's willing to set everything behind me as their number one rider. I can stay at this, providing Decathlon can pay him what he deserves. And it might not be as much as a UAE might be willing to flop out on the table. Who knows? But what he's guaranteed is to have a super team behind him with the best possible equipment, with the best possible partners, and to give him the best possible chance of winning in the Tour de France in the next few years. If he goes to UAE, if he goes elsewhere, he'll likely be a number 2. Yeah. And why should he do that? I would say, I think there's very good reasons for him to stay with Decathlon, and I'm sure he'll have a vision like I do of what's coming in the pipeline. And I think there's a lot of motivation for him to remain with the team. And let's be pragmatic. If he spends another 2 years with the team and it's not progressing to a Tour de France win-capable team, then he can jump ship at any time and probably earn even more money. So, true. My advice to Paul, if you're listening, stay with the team. It's the right thing to do for you, and see what we can deliver.
Yeah, being the star of the team, like one very, very important part of the team at 19 years old is crazy enough. So I think so too. Not like in football when you go to the big teams and then you are number 2 or not even number 3 or something in the list. And I think so too. I think he should stay at Decathlon because this has so much opportunities in the future. This whole team and everything around. So yeah. I saw you sent me a video via WhatsApp that you were in the back of the car at a stage or more stages.
So I joined the team for a couple of stages. The main one was stage 14, which was the Mulhouse to Markstein. I can't remember the name of the stage. Markstein-Fellering. Yeah.
Oh yeah. How was that?
That was amazing. I mean, I've been on tour stages many times before, but I have to say I've never experienced anything like that. What was particular about that stage, in the middle of the tour, a lot happening. It was a weekend. It was a beautiful day, not too hot. Mulhouse is, of course, on the three-country border between Switzerland, France, and Germany. So there were so many fans. And of course, they went twice up the same climb up the same col from different sides. So the fans could accumulate at the top of the climbs and sort of redistribute themselves. I've never seen so many people in my life. And normally on the stage, you've got sections where there are no people on the road. It was non-stop people. There was, I read in the press, well over 1 million people on this stage. And we got stuck with the car trying to get up the climb because the crowd was just so crazy and so full, and they were shaking the car and banging on the car like, oh my God, I hope they've got good insurance policies for the car. It looked like hail damage at the end of it. But it was insane and like electric. And it was amazing. And the great thing was, of course, it was the stage where Paul attacked. He stuck with the front riders for the entire race, and he was with Pogačar and Vingegaard and Lipovic and Del Toro in the final climb. And actually, Paul broke away from Vingegaard, which was also for me like insane to see. Pogačar, of course, broke away with 1 kilometre or 2 kilometres to go. And took the stage win, I think, by 30 seconds or something. But, Paul then battled together with Del Toro and the two of them coming over the line together. Incredible. And on that stage, he took the white jersey only for one day for the following stage. But again, so for me to see that kind of effort and combativeness from Paul and to see him battle with Pogačar, with Vingegaard, with Del Toro at the very front was insane. And podium and white jersey, I mean, it was, we say in German, Gänsehaut.
Goosebumps all over.
Goosebumps all over, yeah. Thanks for correcting my English. It was a proper goosebumps moment. It's one of those ones where you're like, this is pretty cool. All the hard work, that sometimes it's you go into a dark place just like the riders do. We just do it on a office workload level. It's the moments that really make it all worthwhile.
Oh man, that sounds like a once in a lifetime experience. But for the people that drive the cars, I always think when I'm watching on TV and I see the team cars behind the riders or behind the field and everything, I always think like they have to be so calm driving these cars through the field and through all of these people. How was there a tension in the car? Were you talking with the rider or the driver of the car, or are they like super laser focused in these moments?
We don't talk to the driver of the car. He's typically also on the radio with the rider as well. So the DSs, but we've got to be clear, the DSs they have to have a special license and they do special courses so that they're taught to drive on the roads. Actually, I'll tell you just a little side note. Modern cars are a real pain in the ass because modern cars have the anti-collision warning systems. And so you have to switch those off because otherwise they'll automatically jump on the brakes. The car will automatically brake, which will send the car behind or a rider behind into the back window. And you've got to remember, every time you start the car, even if you stop for a quick pee, which you do, every time you start on the car, you've got to quickly go into the settings and turn off this automatic emergency brake system. Otherwise, it's just dangerous because you're driving bumper to bumper with other cars, bumper to bumper with riders sometimes. So, it's pretty wild. And it's really hard. The driver, to answer your question, absolutely, ZS has to concentrate massively to to focus on what's going on. Of course, he has another assistant DS in the car with him, and the mechanic in the back, and everyone's working to deliver information on what's happening and so on. And then there is the Tour de France coming from the lead car, the red car in front, that's giving information. Certain rider raises his hand, gives you the information to come forward with the team car to deliver whatever. He's got a puncture, okay, then and of course the riders on the radio as well, telling you what's going on, telling you about the dynamic in the peloton. If a rider wants more drink or whatever, then one of the domestics has got the role of speaking on the radio and coming back to the team car to collect it. So it's a really dynamic thing that happens. And yeah, as you said, in the same time as having to deal with hundreds and thousands of people on the side of the road, and people get hit, just to be really clear. You end up with, a guy jumped on the bonnet of the car, in one of the corners, just jumped on so you got a guy on the bonnet of the car, you don't stop. The guy just sort of ends up jumping off. But, they're a little bit filled with beer. You see people get their feet driven over. Yeah. So you see people on the side of the road just holding their feet and they've just been driven over by a team car because there's no space. So it is insane. What happens on these climbs with the amount of people is just insane. Yeah. Insane. It's a little bit crazy, to be honest.
Oh, that's really crazy. I saw some video snippets of people that were getting holding back on their t-shirts because there were millimeters between them and the cars and the riders and everything. So let's see how far this goes in the future, because there has to be some regulation or some security stuff to come, I think.
Yeah, we saw this year they were putting barriers up in the final kilometers even longer than they had in the past. But of course, even if you want to put up 5 kilometers of barriers, that's a lot of barriers. Yeah, that's a lot. And you certainly can't put up 180 kilometers of barriers. So, but at the same time, it is part of the sport. And it's funny, if you ask the riders, how was that? They won't really say it's bad, as long as nothing happens, as long as no one really pushes them or throws something in their face or something like this. It's part of the sport. So as long as people respect the boundaries and let the riders ride and don't hinder them and don't do anything nasty, where you see people deliberately pushing riders and stuff, this is not on.
Are there
pretty wild?
Yeah, really, really wild. What I ask myself also is, are there insights from this Tour de France that will directly influence the development of future suicide products?
Yeah, absolutely. So for example, this year, the first time we ran this reverse mullet setup, just opens the door to this sort of thing. 5 years ago, no rider would have accepted that. It's just making steps. We are data-driven, performance-driven team, collective team. So when I say collective team, the decathlon team, the Van Rysel team, the Swiss side team, other partners working together, and we make decisions based on what makes the team fastest. Definitely, for example, this year we had the team time trial at the beginning, which was really interesting. Also a new format where the individual riders' times counted. So, it was a different style of working around giving Paul so it's a different strategy as you would normally have for a team time trial. I think we got some things really right in that, and I think we got some things wrong. So again, taking learnings of how could we have improved? How could we have saved more time for Paul on that stage? Dropping riders earlier, keeping riders longer, all of these sorts of things. Was the pacing strategy right? So we've got a lot of post-race homework, particularly the topic of thermal management was one we were tracking very closely. So we'll get data from all of the thermal side to plug into our platform, and we have a program there to better thermally manage the situation for riders, because it directly impacts performance and power output. So huge learnings to come from this race. But I think, one thing I wanted to mention today is also the topic of safety. And this is something that we, in particular, together with Decathlon Group and the Van Rysel team, are pushing very, very hard. Because, again, if we see, this year, again, we had some crashes and we lost 2 really key riders due to crashes. So Vingegaard, when he lost his front wheel on a really shitty corner on stage 15, broke his collarbone out. And then Florian Lipovic, when he crashed in the individual time trial, also on a really shitty corner, where multiple riders had problems, including Poggi. Poggi almost lost it on the same corner, was doing a front wheel mono coming in and sliding his back wheel to save it. So I think, beyond, so what can we do as a team? So we're pushing really hard for rider protection. So topics like airbags, topic like protection on riders. But, I think, if we look at the true cause of these two crashes that affect these 2 major contenders in this stage, they are both crashes that were, I think, largely due to the course. The way the corner was signed, the way the corner was in general. Like, I don't know why in Vingegaard stage, why they had them even being allowed to go the long way around this traffic island. It's just asking for trouble. So, I do believe the UCI really does need to step up their efforts to make genuine safety improvements. And it's not handlebar width and it's not rim depth. It's genuine things that affect the riders. It's courses. I don't see a problem at all when you have a course and it goes through a tricky area which is dangerous. So it has some dangerous features. Put a speed limit over that 500 meters of course. That is not a problem. It happens in Formula One all the time. It's called the pit lane. You have a speed limit. You're not allowed to exceed the speed limit. If you do, you get a penalty. Not a problem. A really easy way to neutralize dangerous parts of courses, because I understand you can't, on 20 plus stages of 180 kilometers ish of racing, you can't ensure that there is no dangerous corner in there, but you can do things against them. And I think as well, like, why on earth is the UCI not making it mandatory to wear protections, elbow protections, hip protections? These are things that, they won't be super comfortable, but hey, it's about preventing injuries.
Keeping the rider in the race.
Riders to ride on and not abandon the tour, which is great for the sport. I don't think it will make them ride faster, to be honest, because adding these kind of things will hurt the aerodynamics, which actually make them slower. So anyway, the topic of safety, I think, is a big one. I think there still needs to be a lot more done there. I think, pro cycling is where Formula One was in the 1980s. And crazy. Formula One has gotten massively faster since then and massively safer. The UCI should be taking a leaf out of the book from the FIA and speaking together with them and focusing more on rider safety, on track safety, course safety. And I think here, these 2 crashes that we had in this tour could have probably been prevented. But let's see. I don't think anyone, people could argue with that point, but I don't think anyone can argue that more needs to be done for safety. So, hopefully there'll be a ramp up of those efforts in the future to make the racing even more interesting and keeping all the key competitors in all the way up till the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah. It's the same like wearing a helmet. Back in the days, they didn't have to wear a helmet, but how important is it to wear a helmet? And now everyone's wearing it. Thank God everyone's wearing a helmet. So maybe these steps will be able to go in the future and in the near future, because that's what people love to see. Their idols finishing a race like this and not being like...
absolutely. And to be honest, like end consumers riding on the road also want protection, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't see road riders riding protection, using protection because it's not cool, because the pros don't do it.
Yeah.
I can tell you, if the pros are wearing protection, the amateur riders will start wearing protection as well. I think it will be brilliant. And, maybe even certain countries make it mandatory to wear these sorts of protection on the road, like helmets. So, there's more to be done there. But, overall, I think we're making the right steps forward. The technologies are there. They can be introduced in a short-term basis. And anyway, together with Decathlon, we're doing a big push on this. So I think, what we'll see in the coming years are these sorts of solutions reaching the Peloton and the Tour. And that will be great for the sport.
Nice. That would be great. One last question. You already mentioned it before, but how often do the drivers have to stop and take a pee of the cars?
I mean, it's an inevitability. I'd say on a typical stage, at least once or twice. Car will quickly pull over, quickly have a pee, and then normally you do it on a section where there's the riders are going into a climb or something. So you don't lose too much distance. And then you just have to fight your way back through the caravan or the colonne to get back to your designated position in the line. So you stop a few times for a pee. You're not peeing in bottles. I mean, on certain stages maybe you are if there's no chance to stop. It's typically possible to have a stop.
Oh, nice. Hey man, thank you so much for the insights. It was amazing for me as a fan and watching on TV, but you were there and you have the insights, and I learned a lot. So thanks a lot.
Yeah, pleasure. It's been great to talk about it. And the season's not finished, huh?
Uh-huh.
Now we've got Tour de France Femmes, which is just about to kick off, which is brilliant. And then we've got the Vuelta still to come. So it's still a lot to play for this year in World Tour cycling. Looking forward to see how the team goes in the coming months until the end of the year.
We will do a wrap up of the whole season as soon as it ends. So
absolutely.
Let's see. Thanks a lot again. And thanks to all the listeners for supporting us. And if you have any questions about Tour de France or insights or stuff, just drop a comment.
Thanks, guys. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.